on the spotlight. That is once again on the South African Police Services, after Acting Police Minister Firoz Cachalia revealed that dozens of the country's most senior officers are still undergoing security vetting and lifestyle audits, while applications from lieutenant generals and major generals are finally making their way through the system. The slow pace has reignited concerns about accountability at the highest level of policing. Can South Africans have full confidence in a police service whose senior leadership is still waiting to be fully vetted? Does every delay create an opportunity for corruption to take root? And should those without completed security clearance continue making decisions that affect the country's safety? At a time when organized crime is becoming more sophisticated and public confidence in law enforcement remains under pressure, these are questions that simply cannot be ignored. And to help us unpack what these delays mean for transparency, accountability, and the future of policing in South Africa, we are joined by Wayne Duvenage, the Chief Executive Officer of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, better known as OUTA. Wayne, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I suppose what also created a big concern was Dr. Albertus Schoeman, who's from the anti-corruption in the World Bank, who spoke about flawed disclosures, failed audits, as well as inadequate sanctions as well, isn't it? Sorry, Wayne, we can't hear you. Maybe you want to unmute yourself there for us, please.
Sorry about that.
There we go. Take it from the top.
Yeah, I think it's very clear for us that lifestyle audits have not been conducted meaningfully and sufficiently, and that was raised at the Commission by Mr. Schoeman, and I guess you get this reactionary response to all of this, and especially we saw Mr. Buthelezi, one of the ministers, coming out and saying, look, we can't really afford this, but actually we have to afford it. It's not a lot of money. When you look at it, if you just take the top 8,000 positions throughout the country, is going to cost you 250 million rand. If we don't have 250 million rand, which is less than 0.001% of our national budget, it's crazy. We need to find a way, and we need to fast track this. We need to bring in the resources, even if you have to bring them in externally. But lifestyle audits is not the panacea, but it's a very important tool that we should be introducing to get on top of unexplained wealth. And as we saw Matthew Chaskelson talk about it, if you cannot explain your wealth, in other words, if you haven't inherited significant funds or won the lottery, for instance, then explain to us, and yeah, we're talking about people in senior positions in government, how you can afford this lavish lifestyle that you have, these massive multi-million rand homes, numbers of vehicles. And that, for us, indicates theft from the public. And we really need to start stamping this out and taking it seriously.
And the other impression that one gets is that it also depends on who is supposed to undergo it and what part of the system they fall under. Because some have been saying, I have made an application to be vetted, but I don't know where that process is. It's been stuck for over particular years. Others have not made the same. So I suppose that's the other problem as well. There is no centralized institution that has got the mandate to make sure that it happens. I suppose the decisions lies elsewhere, not even in one institution, but there seems to be two institutions or more that are looking into this particular issue. Don't you think that perhaps that is one of the biggest problems?
It's not a big problem. It's one that the presidency and the authorities need to bed down, make a decision. It's not going to be difficult to make that decision, put it into one place, and then let's get started. And we should start out with a very clear objective. We need to do ministers and deputy ministers. We need to do DGs, municipal managers, CFOs, supply chain managers, and all the procurement, executives, as well as police generals. So it's not difficult to put this framework and structure together. Remember, we've been talking about this for years now, and President Ramaphosa came into power on the back of an anti-corruption strategy, of which lifestyle audits were promised, were spoken about as a very important tool, and yet we've done meaningless lifestyle audits. So if we put a plan together, if we allocate the funds, and make sure it's done properly, independently, by the way, then I think we'll start to expose a lot of people who've got a lot of questions to answer about how they obtained their wealth. And if you cannot explain it, then I can assure you it comes from one place only: your pocket and my pocket, the taxpayers' pockets. And that is theft. No matter which way you look at it, that's theft. And if they can't explain it, they need to be removed and those assets need to be recovered.
Yeah, I also get a sense that there are two ways of going about it. Apparently, the first one is where the police people, or those that are being vetted at the time, just have to declare by filling out a particular form, which apparently they've also failed at it as well, in terms of them being truthful about it. And the other layer of it seems to be a serious one, which dives deep into the affairs of the individual involved, the auditing process, where they go into your bank accounts to verify for themselves that indeed you are living within your means or beyond your means. Isn't that also an issue? Because as an ordinary South African, I would expect one solid approach into this particular issue.
Yeah, look, the assets declaration forms are meaningless. I mean, first of all, a senior executive or a minister can declare these assets, but then what's that if nobody checks it? You've got to go well beyond just accepting a lifestyle or a asset declaration. You need to do proper lifestyle audits, and these are not investigations to find out how people spend their money. It's a very structured process to determine whether people are living, and their lifestyle and their assets can be explained by their legitimate income. It's not very difficult, and I can assure you that if you just look into a high level some of the assets that people in positions of power own, and compare that to what they earn, there's a red flag already. So we need to see these as preventative measures, not punitive. We need to make sure that we're not here to catch people out. A lifestyle audit is just to identify early, before they start happening, corruption risks, and start to deter. Because if every official knew that a lifestyle audit was going to be conducted if and when there were red flags around their means of living, then I can assure it becomes a deterrent, and then they've got to explain. So, yeah, they exist in our policies. We just need to apply them.
If it were up to you, Wayne, I mean, what shape or form would it be approached? Would you get an independent firm to look into the whole process? And who in government should be responsible for making sure that this actually happens? Because there's been delays, as you say, for the longest of time now, and the situation has not changed. I mean, if it has changed very little, if at all. Give us a sense of how, if you were to dismantle the current structure and approach, you would formulate the roadmap around the manner in which it should be done and done correctly.
Yeah, so we think firstly, it needs to be independent. You don't want government managing this, because then you just get a lot of question marks around how real it is. But there are, it's already, government commits themselves to lifestyle audits in the whole Public Administration Management Act. National Anti-Corruption Strategy speaks about it. And I think it needs to be possibly sitting in the Public Service Commission, where a lot of the recommendations have come out, and then from there make sure it's independent, bring in the resources. We hear these excuses that it's going to cost too much, it's going to take too long. It doesn't. And I said, in the greater scheme of things, it's not a lot of money, especially when you're tackling the biggest risk that this country faces, which is corruption. Get into the Public Service Commission, put it into a very robust, very sealed off, independent process, and put the resources in. As I say, if you need more resources, bring in external resources. But if you use AI, you use tools to start looking for the flags, you can start prioritizing, and you can make sure that the senior positions, the bigger, more important positions, the high-risk positions, like in the police and the state security elements, are taken care of first, and in the supply chain and the procurement process. So it just needs a strategy to be put together. It needs to be financed, funded, and resourced, and bring in the experts. And I can assure you, if you put a very well structured plan together, if we applied our minds with experts here, it wouldn't take long to do that. We could get this ball rolling. Of course, it's going to take some time, but there's that old Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So we mustn't say it's going to take too long. You start now, you prioritize, and I can assure you in a year or two, we'll see a lot.
Well, Wayne, thank you very much. Thanks for your insights and your time as always. We really appreciate it.